Luis Paolini. Luis is our own customer success engineer working at Metabase. Luis is based in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and he has been actually using Metabase for many years, exactly starting at 2017. And he was wearing many hats: data engineering, data analyst, solutions architect, consultant, and even university professor. Today, Luis will be talking about Metabase's agent API. So, Luis, if you are ready, I'm happy to give the mic to you. And let me just add Luis here.
Yeah, I'm ready. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all. Probably you saw me in previous videos. And here I am. I will share the screen pretty quickly to try to speak a little bit more about agents. I think there we go. Let me see if that's not my screen, by the way, just for the record. I don't know if my screen, maybe if I put it, yeah, thank you. There we go. Oops, sorry, I clicked again, Margaret. That was my fault. Sorry. Can you?
Okay, I think I got it back. Yeah, cool.
No, but that's not mine. That one's mine. Yeah, that one's mine. Thank you. So I'm gonna speak about this new feature that we just released, which is called the Agents API. Just for context, this is not Metabot. So like Metabot is one thing, Metabot can be now used inside the product in embedded contexts. But what we are going to see is how you would build, let's say, your own agent. Yes, so it's completely outside of Metabot. It might use a couple of things from Metabot, but this is not like Metabot or like how Metabot it's implemented. Here, what we're going to do today, so we're going to just speak just briefly about what's an agent and why the Agent API, like why we released this. We are going to show a tiny demo that I built so we can see what we can achieve with these endpoints. And lastly, we'll do some technical deep dives into the Agent API, what are the different things that we can do with the API, and some takeaways to finish the presentation. Again, I will try to do it like as interactive as I can. So please don't think that this is gonna be slide after slide. What's an agent? Pretty simple. Just imagine like a mystery box. To a mystery box, you basically ask questions. Hey, I need X, or ask questions, or ask the mystery box to give you something like I need X, and some magic happens in the middle, and it will return you like here's X, right? That's pretty much an agent, and you can imagine like a big agent, small agent. Again, this can be a very broad. Specifically now, it's a super broad concept. Let's move into the mystery box and see what's in there. So in the magical world of software, this mystery box can call large language models. It could get information from sources, any source. It could process or transform data or information that it got from sources, or it could call other agents, or it could call like an MCP. I saw that many of you were talking about MCPs and MCPs. Don't worry about MCPs for now. We can talk about that later. And what it is and why it's for. But like it can call another agents, call like external sources, do a lot of things. That's pretty much everything that might happen inside this mystery box. So let's see an example that I built. So what I did here was I used the new Agents API that we're going to see the details in just a couple of minutes. And I built an application that uses the Agent API and does some voice to text and text to speech. So in a way, I build like my own agentic flow to speak to my computer, and my computer will like reply it with information that I get from. And wait me a sec, I'm going to try to see. Yeah, this might be a cool thing. Let's go to localhost 3000, which is where Metabase is running. I'm gonna show you exactly what is the data. So the data is about the World Cup, Argentinians, we have just a couple of things to be proud of. One is like that we won the latest World Cup, and so I chose this data set, and I'm going to ask a few questions so you can see that the data set has a lot of data about World Cups, players, goals, matches, and such. So we will make questions with voice to this data set that it's that Metabase is hosting. There's a SQLite database as well behind the scenes, and I am using the APIs that Metabase expose to ask questions about this. So let me go to my little application, and again, this is agentic. We're gonna see, maybe some gotchas about agents in a few minutes. So I'm like, I tested this, but things can go wrong, specifically in live demo. So, like, I'm gonna press my escape. Hi there.
Hello.
Cool.
I am here to answer questions about your data using Metabase.
Okay, cool. This one worked fine. I have a few questions that I know that they work fine. Behind the scenes, there's there are like call to LLMs that understand the intent of the question, and that intent of the question can go to many like branches of the code, like, hey, is this even a question, or this is not a question, or maybe the user is asking about it's a question, but it's not about the World Cup, right? So like I shouldn't answer that question because I know that I have information about World Cup. Like, whoops. Anyway. Which topics can I talk with you about? It's doing a lot of things behind the scenes, calling OpenAI. So give it a little time. It's also like bringing back a lot of like data, and then like passing that through a pipe of text to speech that it's recording on my disk and then playing the audio. Okay.
Based on the data provided, the only topic I can talk with you about is the 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup.
Cool. That's nice. All right. Who won the latest Men's World Cup? Please don't say it's France. Please don't say it's France. See, well,
I cannot answer that from the Metabase data metadata I have right now.
Okay, it should have answered that because it knows about that. Let's say, who was the manager of Argentina in the latest World Cup?
The manager of Argentina in the latest World Cup was Lionel Scaloni.
Good, nice. This is interesting. Sorry, that was a bug because it like knew that was Lionel Scaloni, but for some reason it didn't render it here. But cool, fine. there are some few bugs. Let's see this one, which is tricky. Which players scored the goals in the final match of the last Men's World Cup? Oof, this is gonna be tricky. Oh, nice.
In the final match of the last Men's World Cup, the goals were scored by Kylian Mbappe, Lionel Messi, and Angel Di Maria.
Nice. I'm gonna do a couple more. So it's working fine, thankfully. How many World Cups has Argentina won in the history of the World Cups?
Argentina has won 3 World Cups in the history of the World Cups.
Which years Argentina won the World Cups?
Argentina won the World Cup in 1978, 1986, and 2022.
Okay, this is really cool what I'm going to show because this is like super tricky, or maybe like this is even the entire point of like agents, LLMs, AIs, right? Which is LLMs were trained in a vast amount of data, and they tend to hallucinate, or they don't even tend to grab the full context. So if you go to ChatGPT, at least I went today in the morning, and I asked ChatGPT here, who's the player with the most amount of goals in the history of the World Cups? And it came with me with, hey, it's Miroslav Klose, right? But this question needs a lot of, this is a very open question. And for some reason, ChatGPT is considering that the World Cups are only for male soccer. But in my data set, I have male and women's World Cups. So this is going to be cool, because thanks to this, I can tune or give as much context as I can on very specific corpus of knowledge, so it can give me more precise answers. This is the entire point of fine tuning and everything that we do. So let's see if this one works, which is, who's the player with the most amount of goals in the history of the World Cups? Good.
The player with the most goals in World Cup history is Marta Vieira da Silva, with 17 goals.
Okay, this is amazing. It worked. Just for the record, you might even say, yeah, Luis is cheating because he's asking questions that were predefined. No, I'm cheating. Actually, this is a massive amount of logs that you see here, me coming and going to ChatGPT with data and inserting that data into the context. There's a lot of things. I'm gonna put this demo live as soon as I finish polishing it, because I'm very ashamed of the quality of this code specifically. But now I'm gonna tell you how does this work. Actually, if you go to Marta Vieira da Silva Wikipedia page, my agent is right and ChatGPT is wrong. Actually, she has the score of the most amount of goals in World Cups. So we were able to make it. So let's see how this example works, just for context. So this is me asking questions, as you just saw in with the application. There are two things that are extremely important here. One is the LLM provider that gives me this parsing of unstructured information, understanding of things, all the language to something provider, and then it's Metabase with its agent APIs. So I ask a question to this application, and then here it's when I start the agentic flow, right? So what info do I have? That's the first question that the code does, and to get that, it goes to Metabase agent APIs. Metabase agent APIs will say, this is all the information that I have, this is all the metadata. The second thing that happens is, cool, so I have this information. Can I answer this? It will go to the LLM provider, and it will say, hey, I have all this corpus of knowledge, and the user is asking me this. Can I find the usual problem of the needle in the haystack, which is can I answer this specific thing from this massive amount of corpus of knowledge that the user is asking me? That's the second question. The third thing is, let's say that this is a yes. Okay, so the next thing that will happen is, okay, so I give you all the tables, and what tables do you have. You said that I could answer this question. So the next call will be, okay, which tables should I use to answer the question the user is asking? Again, I'm going to go to the LLM provider, and the LLM provider will reply to me, these are the tables that you should check. Cool. Then I go with those tables again to Metabase agent APIs, and I tell Metabase, hey, give me all the relevant metadata from all these tables, and give me also the fields, and give me also the foreign keys, and give me how you would relate these tables and the semantic types and everything. Gets all the semantics from that table. This is extremely important for this entire presentation. It will get all the semantics for answering that question. Once I get that, then I will go again to the LLM provider, and I will ask the LLM provider to give me, from all these tables, fields, and everything that I needed to answer the question, a structure that I need to then send to Metabase. We'll see next why we need a structure. We will send to Metabase an API call, and we'll tell Metabase, hey, I would like you to run this query. So prepare this query, actually. I need you to prepare this query. We're going to see how we call the query processor of Metabase, which is one of the most important concepts of Metabase. Like I'm going to send that request to Metabase, and then I'm going to run the query in Metabase, and then I'm going to grab the result, send it once again to the LLM provider, and say, here's the result for this question, answer to the user this question. It goes back to my computer. My computer like has a text to speech in this case. It was voice to text, and now it's text to speech, and answers me back. That's the entire flow. And here are the endpoints that we use, and you will see them in the documentation. But basically, the first one was search. I send the words that I find relevant, and then I get the tables back. Then I tell, hey, I have these tables, so give me the fields and the metadata that I requested. The third one is, and this is the probably the most important one, and you will see, which is, I go to the LLM provider and ask the LLM provider, hey, I got all these tables, I got all these fields, and then I need to send to Metabase the structure of the query. LLMs have a really cool thing called structured output, which allows you to send to the LLM, I got all this information, put me in a structured way, like in a way so I can like reuse it in the future. So I just send to the LLM, I want you to build the structure of the API call that I'm gonna do to Metabase. The LLM comes back with a perfect structure, and I send that to Metabase, and Metabase will basically answer me back with an answer. Just a few things of why this is extremely important, and we can talk about other questions here. But why do we need an agent API? Why did we do this? The first one is that we are through the agent APIs, we're exposing all the metadata and all the entities that you already did in Metabase. This is extremely important. Like everything that what a table is about, what a field is about, what are the values of the possible values and the fingerprints of this is a maximum and minimum value. Like absolutely everything that you already did in Metabase, it's exposed through these APIs. So like don't repeat yourself. Like you don't need to code again all those things to get all the the context for those API calls. The second and most important thing is the query generator. So you can go to Metabase and say, hey, I have these fields and I have these tables. Build me a query that answers this question. And this is extremely important for a single reason. The worst thing that can happen when you're building an agent is that you saw that I hit a few bumps in the first couple of questions, and that is definitely something that didn't happen like half an hour ago. And the reason that this is happening is because LLMs are probabilistic. They are not like deterministic. And if I have a query generator and I can go to that query generator and say, hey, I need you to build me this query, that query generator will output the exact same query every single time. That is one of I wouldn't say the secret sauce of Metabase, because Metabase has just a lot of things, but that's one of our core components. So we will always return you the same query when you send us the exact same thing. So you will get the query, you can tell Metabase to run it, and this is also an incredibly important thing. When you run the query, I didn't show, but I was actually authenticated all the time. Like I was authenticated with a session to Metabase, and Metabase was running all those queries. This is a demo, right? And I was basically playing as an admin. But if this was an agent that all the people in your company were using, every single user will have a different permissioning configuration. So maybe one user might be, will have row level security, another one will be impersonated, another person might not be able to run a question because they don't have permissions on some certain table. And also audits. Like I haven't shown you, but this is a really cool thing. Every single question that I just did is going to be shown in the query log. Like you will see that all the questions that I did have an agent query source. Like we know that it's query built by an agent, and we will tell you how did we build those queries. Like we have all the audit information from that. And it's a REST API. In the end, it's the same technology we've been using for web applications in the last 20, 30 years. It's a mature technology that we all know. It's already there for you to use. A few takeaways, and I finish with this. semantics. Like this could have not happened without like me going to the database and telling, hey, this table is about this, these fields are about that. Actually, what I did was I populated all the semantics with LLM's structured outputs. I sent all the database to an LLM, and I told, hey, I would like you to build me a table that contains all the semantics from all these tables and fields. So I just put that table. We can talk about that. It's called the metadata table that you can use to populate metadata in Metabase. It's in our docs, by the way. But I put all the semantics of all the tables and fields before, so then the agent API could bring it to me when I build this agent. Simplify your data model as much as possible. I had like a ton of tables there. Is that okay? Well, I don't know if that's fine. Maybe you need to like pre-aggregate, or again, try to simplify as much as possible your data model. So you don't need to start like telling the agent, hey, I need you to join like 100 times, right? Or self-joins and such, because that's when everything gets tricky. Agents are extremely hard to control. Or I mean, if you don't want that hardness of control, then you end up using a ton of tokens. Like you really don't want to build an agent with Opus, the Anthropic's highest model with max thinking and like cost you like $100 per question. Actually, this agent has been using the cheapest model of OpenAI. I'm using like a OpenAI ChatGPT 5.4 nano. Nano, like cost me, I don't know, not even a cent every single query. So check the previous two items, so you reduce the amount of tokens and effort that you put into it, and don't repeat yourself. Everything, you put a lot of things in Metabase, reuse them. Like that's the entire point. Thank you. This is it. Like if you like what you saw, well, we are hiring. So that's my email and our link for applying for Metabase jobs. Thank you.
That's very cool. Thanks for sharing, Luis. So a couple of people asked in the chat about the MCP server, and Samir mentioned, and we mentioned it before in the conference, that we are going to open source that, and we are aiming for tomorrow. So look forward for the announcement. So you'll be able to play with all of that in your instances. And then a couple of people asked about whether it will be possible, Luis, to get your voice in the Metabase agent.
We'll work on that. We'll work.
Okay.
On it.
And yeah, so the meta voice is something that Luis built. It's not something we are planning to officially launch or add, but it's just a good example of what you can do with Metabase once we announce the next release. And there's one question that I want to that comes from Danilo. Is it possible to change visualizations, make dashboard wider, make filters editable via the API agent?
Actually, the API agent is like read-only. There's I'm pretty sure that what you want to do is maybe build questions or dashboards via the API. That's currently actually possible. Like you can via APIs go and like modify entities in Metabase. You can do put requests or post requests to our endpoints. This is like agent APIs are just read-only. You can get, as I mentioned, tables, field metadata, build queries, and execute queries. But there's no such thing as I want to modify a dashboard or I want to modify a question. This is like read-only, make questions on the fly sort of thing.